This is Sky Blues Extra.
Welcome to Sky Blues Extra on
Get
the
in!
evening of 3 points at home to Sheffield Wednesday. And in the words of Cal O'Hare, don't you know, pump it up, the city's staying up.
No, we're going
And
up
I've changed
now.
it, Tom, to staying up, which is obviously the first hurdle, I suppose, and then we can look towards securing perhaps mid-table mediocrity. But what a performance and what a result, and loads and loads of talking points, which I'm sure we're going to get through. We've already got a hell of a lot of comments coming through, and we're going to try and have a bit of an order so that we can help you guys join in and basically enjoy what is going to be a very special Sky Blues Extra, as we say, on an eve of a fantastic result, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant result. Like you say, some absolutely brilliant individual performances tonight. Callum O'Hare, mate, what a performance from him.
I mean, we're going to get into man of the match, but it's very difficult, isn't it, to say anyone else. I mean, to a man, everyone was superb, even the players that came on off the bench. But wow, it is
Gutierrez as well, mate. I thought he had a good game. He put a great shift in. He stuck out on the left a lot of it as well, but yeah, he was good. And to be fair, not really well, composed finish for the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so,
it was.
Yeah, no,
it's just.
buzzing.
It was a really difficult pitch to play on tonight for both teams, I think. And for both teams, there was credit at times for the football that was played, because there was good football played all round, wasn't there? But it's a very difficult pitch tonight to play on.
Yeah, the pitch doesn't look great, does it? It's very wet in the middle of the pitch, wasn't it? And the ball was getting a bit bogged down. So yeah, not easy to play on, but don't think we let it affect us too much. We were knocking it about pretty well. Played some really nice football at times. So yeah, no, it's great result.
Yeah,
I feel a lot
it is
better than I
absolutely
have
fantastic.
After a lot of games this season.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was one of those that it always felt we were quite comfortable, I'd say, once we went 1-0 up, but there was a few hairy moments. But it could have gone either way, couldn't it, before the first goal?
Yeah, it's what we've been saying, isn't it, Dave? We said it on the podcast. The first goal is really important. It's a bit like the Reading game, wasn't it? It was like, if they get the first one, it's going to be a bit tricky. I think it was the same at Preston. You felt tonight, I don't know how you felt, I definitely felt in that first half watching it, I was like, whoever gets the first goal here is probably going to go on and win the game. And luckily, we came out second half and played really, really well and got that goal. And then, there was only going to be one winner from there, really, I thought.
Exactly. Let's take it to the comments. Let's take it to the comments, Tom, and let's see what some of the Sky Blues Extra followers are saying. A man you know very well. Is that what's known as grinding out a win? Well, if there's anyone knows about grinding, few people. But no, I mean, what a result! It's absolutely true, isn't it? It is. It was a hard watch. Pete said he feels exhausted. I think we all feel the same, really. It was one of those. We knew we deserved the win. We felt like we got the win. But absolutely right, wasn't it? That's what we had to do. We had to dig in, and at times we played sensible. At times we had to go long.
Yeah.
At times we kept the ball when we should on what was a really, really difficult pitch.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't the easiest of games, like you say, tough pitch. They did threaten us. They had a lot of corners and some scary moments. But I think overall, we saw it out pretty well. And nice to get a goal at the end as well, just to sort of really seal it.
And goal difference, we just don't know what's going to happen towards the end of the season, and they were wide open. Another masterclass from Cal O'Hare, and a great finish by Jamie Allen.
Yeah, it's probably only the second time we've won by a 2-goal margin all season.
Yeah,
definitely the first time we've won 2-0. So yeah, it feels nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, some more comments here. Not the best of games, but a much needed 3 points there tonight. What do you think about that, Tom? I think we were quite entertaining in parts. It was a bit of a nail biter.
The middle part of the game wasn't great, was it? To be honest, like there was spells towards the end of the first half where it died out a bit. Start of the second half, it took a while to get going, but I think once we started getting going, we looked really good, didn't we? And,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Harry is buzzing after that win. We've got
Yeah,
Andy who just says yeehaw. I think we all feel a bit the same.
Poor Harry. We did a Zoom call and he was 2.5 minutes behind us on his stream, so he was struggling a bit to keep up.
Here from Ricky, great result. Finally, a bit of end product from O'Hare with the 2 assists. I think that was the key tonight, wasn't it? And
yeah.
There was a pass that he played through to Alan. I think Alan probably wasn't quite on the same wavelength. I know Clive mentioned that it was a bit overhit, but it didn't look it for me. It was actually slipped through really well, and he was just brilliant in that final third tonight. That turn for Gyökeres is it was just
quality, and the
bamboozled
ball through was
everyone,
perfect.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, the ball through was absolutely weighted perfectly. I mean, Gyökeres couldn't miss, could he? Really, at that point, All he had to do was slot it,
get there first.
Anywhere really, right, left, in between the keeper's legs, and it was going in. So yeah, it was just perfect ball.
Paul says, what a great result, Tom. Not best game. O'Hare was brilliant, worked his socks off. You couldn't fault anyone's work rate, but Cal O'Hare was like a Duracell bunny, wasn't he? He just never stopped running tonight. It was a fantastic display.
The amount of fouls as well that he draws, the amount of free kicks he wins is just unbelievable. I just saw Nigel there saying massive win. It is such a massive win tonight. It really is.
Season defining, Tom?
For me, it is in a way, to be honest with you. I think it is because... we can go into Saturday now absolutely full of confidence. I mean, Saturday is another massive game.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a weird game because I don't think Birmingham will be looking forward to it at all. To be honest with you, I think it's one of those. They're like the home team at their own ground, but they know we're pretty comfortable playing there. They're not going to be looking forward to it, and I think we can go in there absolutely full of confidence. My only concern is Dabo, obviously. His injury. Hopefully, it's just a dead leg and he'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's season defining. I really do. I think when you look at the table as well, 10 points between us and Sheffield Wednesday, that almost puts Sheffield Wednesday and Wycombe Wanderers out of touch a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know there's a long way to go. But,
yeah, of course.
But, that's a big points gap. So yeah, potentially 2 of the places are getting a little bit closer to being sort of wrapped up. But
yeah, exactly.
like
Well, we're going to bring some more comments in a minute, Tom. We're also going to ask you followers at home, Sky Blues Extra fans, just tell us who was your man of the match. It's probably quite an easy one for many of us, but yeah, who was your man of the match and why? We've got already one here. Great win today. I think we look better with 4 at the back. We'll come on to that in a minute, Tom, especially there mentioned without McFadzean. Despite the quality on the pitch, looked calm and on the ball throughout the game. Callum O'Hare, man of the match, massive win in relegation battle. I think that's the big point, isn't it? That it is a relegation battle. It was always going to be, and we've managed to peg back a team that are going to be challenging us for those spots.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a 6-pointer, isn't it? Really. It's always going to be a big game, and we've made a bit of ground back on those teams around us as well. The QPRs and the Millwalls and teams like that. Obviously, they played that game, didn't they, the other week when we didn't play?
Yeah.
So it's sort of tightened things back up, and I'm looking at the table now, and we're only 2 points off 14th. We're only 4 points off 13th. So yeah, it's a big win. It's a great 3 points.
Yeah, and great here from Chris, know him well, lovely chap, and he said, great win for the City. Hopefully this will give a great boost to O'Hare. I think that's important. He's probably a bit of a confidence player and needs that. He appears to be very much a confidence player. I totally agree with that. And he says, keep up the good work on here, I like Dave. That was my nickname
Nice.
throughout the terraces at times.
I was going to say on O'Hare, Dave. Yeah, I think I agree there. I think he is definitely a confidence player, and we talk about season defining. It could be season defining for O'Hare.
Yeah.
You sometimes as a player when you're not getting the assists, and let's be honest, he's had a very good season. He just hasn't had those assists and goals, that end product.
Yeah, and it's just that little bit, isn't it? That final third. That's what we've said, and we could argue I was a little bit on the podcast, but we do need him to deliver because he's one of the unfortunately senior players at this squad, isn't he? When you look at wages possibly, and you look at game time, and one of the first on the team list, he needs to be the ones that's pushing and striving and pushing the standard.
Yeah, exactly. And there's all those things, and then also just the position he plays. He's very important in terms of the creativity and what happens at the top of the pitch,
Yeah.
especially when we're playing one up top.
Yeah, because he does
But
kind of get a bit of a free roll. We know he puts in a lot of work, but he does kind of get a bit of a free roll, doesn't he? Whereas some of the other players have to sit in. I'm just going to comment on this one from Nige about the O'Hare easily man of the match. I don't think we were traditional two up top, but having two in front of him allowed more options to him to find that pass. It's a really valid point, isn't it? Because we seem to just have much more options in that final third.
yeah, I think the two worked really well tonight. To be honest with you, I don't think it's necessarily what Robbins has like planned for the season, and to have like two sort of similar players like that up front. But I think we're making the best of what we've got, and I think where it did actually work really well tonight. I don't know what you thought, was where we did go long a little bit. Especially in the first half, we went long a few times, and you did just notice having that extra option, having like Biamu peeling off, sort of made a big difference, didn't it? We were holding the ball up a bit better at the top end of the pitch.
Well, that's it. It seemed to be
how many
coming
times have we
straight
seen
back
it
at
with
us,
one?
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen it with one up front where, when Godden was doing that on his own, and he's sort of holding it up, but there was no one really there to take it on, and the ball, and then it would just get sort of, snuffled out. So, yeah, I thought it was good playing the two up front tonight, and I suppose it's a bit of a headache for Mark Robbins on Saturday now, isn't it? Whether he sticks with the winning team or if Fads comes back in, it's interesting, but they're good decisions to be making, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Dave Jones says, man of the match, tough. He thought we had a few players who could have put their name forward. I mean, he's absolutely right. There was some superb displays throughout the pitch, and we're going to bring Mark in a minute now to talk about his thoughts on the games, and he's a regular on here, and as many fans as possible do come on, because it's great to get as many of you as possible on Sky Blues Extra Live. But evening, Mark, again.
Evening.
Brilliant to have you on, and we've got a couple of questions for you to go through. But firstly, your thoughts on that game. Huge, isn't it?
Oh, they're absolutely massive 3 points. Particularly we look at the fact that Rotherham have won tonight as well. So
Yeah.
that's a
Keeping
big
the pace.
is a big win tonight. I thought second half we played really well. I thought first half was pretty scrappy. It was a pretty poor match.
It looked like two teams, Mark, that couldn't afford to lose. And didn't want to make a mistake and perhaps do that a little bit extra to get a win. It was very scrappy, wasn't it, and a bit cagey.
I think it's just the two teams that lacked in confidence, I think.
Yeah.
But I thought second half, I mean, obviously I was very concerned with Dabo coming off at half time, because he took a pretty bad knock to the knee, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's been missing for a few weeks now. But actually, Pass came on second half and he looked really good. He really didn't feel confident, but actually he actually had a very strong half. I think for me it's obvious that O'Hare was man of the match, provided 2 assists and 2 well taken goals. But Pass right back, I thought he'd done fantastic, and even Bakayoko at the end, he was like a man possessed. He was chasing really hard, and I just thought overall the team played really well. I think the only thing I was worried about Sheffield Wednesday was set plays, because we know what Bannon's like. Bannon's got a good left foot.
We gave a few away, didn't we?
And the only thing that could have gone against us tonight, I thought Hyam could have got a red card another day. Just debatable. I mean, that's just something.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones where he's got on the wrong side. He's again he's made another mistake, but fortunately we got away with it, and that's the luck we need. So but I'm not going to not thinking about it too much. All I really care about is we won the game. So it's a massive win. So very happy.
Exactly. You mentioned there, Mark, man of the match. You said O'Hare. Any special mentions for anyone else? What did you think of Jokeret's? Jokeres up top.
I thought you did a Clive there, Dave.
Yeah, I thought both
Guy
strikers.
Torres.
Yeah, I don't even ask me. I'm just as useless as well. But I thought both strikers done well. I thought Max done well. They battled hard. I just think as a team, we all, I don't know. I prefer it with that formation in some ways. But that's the dilemma Robbins has got now next game. You've got McFadden now available. What does he do? I think personally, the injury to Dabo might make him reconsider. I think we might stay at 4-4-2. The only problem is Biama's knee, because I think is he not potentially looking at an operation at some point in the future as well.
Yeah, Robin seemed to suggest that. He said that he might be able to play through it, but
Yeah.
it seems like that. I don't know whether that means he needs to be careful and play him less or whatever. I don't know the extent of it, but yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like you say, with Dabo potentially out, then you'd probably be tempted more because Paski's more of a right back, isn't he, than a right wing back?
Yeah.
From what we've seen. So yeah, you'd be comfortable with a 4, but then, like you say, the 2 strikers. I don't know. You probably wouldn't bring Bakker in, would you, and play alongside Biamu? But it's an option. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think my concern is just the amount of injuries we've got. The squad's very depleted. Yeah,
and they're not. And we don't seem to be getting players back that quickly either. I don't know whether it's because we've learnt our lesson and we've taken our time a bit more, but Walker was due back around now, wasn't he? And we're not hearing anything about him being back in training or anything. So
yeah. Of course, Da Costa as well, sadly, because he would have slotted straight back in for Dabo, but it seems that he's picked up a knock and he's going to be out, not even able to make the bench tonight, which presumably means that he'll be a couple of weeks away, if not hopefully nothing worse.
Yeah.
Mark, is there anyone that you would drop perhaps from tonight's performance? Anyone that you would fancy walk back in for you, or and what would you do if you wanted to keep the 2 up top? That sort of formation.
I think I wouldn't drop anyone at the moment. I don't think McFadden should walk straight into the team. But again, I'm not Mark Robbins. That's his decision. That's what he's paid to do, to make them decisions. I think I personally wouldn't change it. I think what I liked about tonight was I thought O'Hare really stepped up to the mark. When you particularly because it's no secret our best players on the right hand side when Dabo gets forward. He puts
he showed that tonight,
his,
didn't he?
Yeah.
He got past his man a couple of times, and he's just that outlet, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think that that bit of quality which was seriously lacking that last sort of final third, and it's nice that we got them 2 goals. I just felt it's actually one of the very few games I felt fairly comfortable tonight. I think you're right. We had a bit of a spell where we were a bit, it was a bit kind of edge on seat stuff. But I actually thought we managed the game well when we got ahead. We didn't make too many mistakes. I think the only thing I could think of was that one just after we scored the first goal with the Heim incident, which I mentioned earlier. But other than that, I thought we were pretty comfortable. I thought Sheffield Wednesday, for me, they look a team that are down. And if we hadn't won tonight, I would have seriously had doubts about us staying up. But now, I think we've got Birmingham next up. We can beat Birmingham.
Yeah, but I was going to say that, Mark. I was going to take before we jump on, but I was going to take a score prediction from you for the Birmingham game. How do you see this one going? It's a very massive, important game again, isn't it?
I think we can win 1-0. I mean, I think it's going to be similar. There's not, a lot of these games are going to be, not a great watch, but at the end of the day, we just got to keep chalking up the 1-0s, and it's not going to be pretty, but I think we're good enough to beat them. It's a strange league, the Championship, because some of the results we're seeing where teams near the bottom are beating teams near the top, and you can't rest on our laurels
tonight, don't you? You think that's an odd result, that one?
Yeah, but it's not. It's not just them. I mean, Derby picking up results, Forest picking up results, QPR picking up results. So we can't rest on our laurels. It's a good win tonight, but we've got another big game against Birmingham, and we've got to be up for that. We've got to be up for the fight. And I think these next 2 games now, we've got to target 2 more wins. And when you're playing the likes of Watfords and the Brentfords, if you nick a point, I'm happy days. But against Birmingham and Forest, we've got to target 6 points out of them 2 games.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I think if we can beat teams like this and get 3 points, then put a solitary point against some of those bigger teams will look like a very good point. So yeah, absolutely, you've got to target 3 points from the next 2. If we win 1 and draw 1, it's not the end of the world either. But yeah, I'd definitely be looking to back this up on Saturday, and I personally think Birmingham are there for the taking.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's just, for me, O'Hare is going to be a big player for us now, and the amount of times we got fouled tonight is ridiculous, but that happens every game I see us play. But tonight,
hopefully he'll kickstart his season though, Mark. What we're saying.
Yeah.
in terms of just having a couple of assists and being so involved, it might just kickstart him, give him that boost of confidence he needs, and
Yeah.
hopefully go on and have a fantastic season, even more so than he's had already.
And also, Mark, he put them in a really precarious position tonight because obviously they picked up some yellow cards from some key men.
Yeah.
It only needed one more, wasn't it? And one of them was walking.
Well,
And very fortunate, perhaps, in that aspect as well. But he does draw a lot of fouls and gives you that aspect, I suppose.
he does, yeah, and you're right. I think the Philip Pousis, I think that was his name. Probably terrible pronunciation again.
Don't worry, number 8.
Yeah. I mean, he was lucky not to have got a second yellow. I agree in the first half when we were breaking away from their corner. So yeah, I thought it was a bit of luck. But yeah, no, I think that's what we need him to do. Get him into those pockets and then just try and thread that ball through, like the first goal. Great example. He got in that pocket, nice ball to Gayorkis. If that's again another poor pronunciation, but like the finish was really good. But you look at it again, you think, well, we managed to squeeze it between Westwood's legs. On another day like Reading, that would have been hitting straight on the feet, and they would have cleared it. Tonight we got that luck. And I think it's always going to be a game where once you get that first goal, then the team that gets the first goal will control the game. Because, I think if Sheffield Wednesday score first, I just think psychologically it's been very tough to get back. But, it's a huge 3 points. They're a team that, in my opinion, are going down with Wickham. And it's just a case now of, these next 2 games, we've got to target 6 points.
Brilliant. Well, Mark, thank you ever so much for coming on Sky
Cheers,
Blues
guys.
Extra Live as usual.
Cheers, Mark, mate.
We'll
Thank
speak to you again soon, and thanks ever so much, like we say, for your input. Tom, some really good comments there from Mark, and Mark Robbins has got a huge decision to make now. Sky Blues Extra fans, do let us know in the comments what you would do if you were Mark Robbins going into the Birmingham game. 1, with the formation, and 2, if there's any players that would perhaps relegate themselves to the bench or be promoted from that. But it would be interesting to know, because it's a really tough decision now, because it's always difficult for a manager to change a winning side, Tom.
Yeah, it is. I think, I agree with you. I think I'd probably keep it the same. Obviously, you're going to have to bring Paskin for Dabo, most likely. And if that's the case, I guess the only question is Biamu's fitness and things like that. But I think he'll be fine. So I'd be tempted to play the same team as tonight. I thought it worked quite well, to be honest. And like we said, Birmingham are there for the taking. So we can cause them problems with 2 up top for sure.
Yeah, well, let's bring some more comments in, and then what we're going to do is we've got some topics to talk about outside of tonight's fixture, as important as that was, and we've also got a couple more guests waiting in the wings to come on. But great comment here from our podcast sponsors here, Shortland Horn, and do check them out, give them a follow, make sure that you retweet some of their tweets and follow them on Instagram. But get in, not a great game, but can't complain at the result. The Coventry's leading estate agents there, Tom, extremely correct in both selling properties and reviewing matches.
Yeah, that's exactly how everyone feels. It's like get in, wasn't perhaps the best game we've ever seen, but it's a 2-0 win, against a relegation rival. It's brilliant. It's feel good, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And a few more comments then. We've got one here from Scott. Brum game will be another battle. All the players look ready for it tonight. It's about grinding out those wins. Spot on, isn't it? It was. We looked at it from the get-go, didn't we, tonight?
Yeah, we did look at it. It's weird, wasn't it? Because when we went to the Reading game, we thought, will the time off have done us some good? And actually, it seemed like we were a little bit off it, maybe at Reading. But we came back fighting tonight, and it seems like a bit of the time off, but we've got back into the rhythm of it, and at home as well. At Birmingham, we seem to be much more up for it and play better there. So it's great.
A really key point is this one as well, Tom. Like you say, we are doing all this without the spine of our team. Some key players out, isn't there? And a lot of them probably quite a way off from coming back.
Yeah, I agree. I think we mentioned it on the pod, didn't we? We said, if you look at a lot of the key positions across the pitch, missing our first choice keeper, one of our first choice centre halves, definitely our first choice midfielder in Kelly, or defensive midfielder, and both of our strikers. It's tough when you have that. Like we said, I fully believe Walker was going to score 15 goals this season.
Yeah.
Godden wouldn't have been too far away, possibly, depending on which of them played.
Yeah, I mean, he hit the ground running, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly, and to have both of them out has been really tough. There's no doubt about it. We have had some really bad luck with injuries this season, and that's even more the motivation to stay up in this division, because we'll be so much stronger next season. If we have a little bit more luck with injuries and we can sign some players in the summer, which I'm sure we will, we'll be so much stronger. So even more the reason to stay up this year.
Yeah, exactly. Some more comments. A big thumbs up from Elaine there. A big 3 points. Gaz, onto the weekend. It is that feeling, isn't it? When you get 3 points, you just want to keep rolling over because that momentum's going. And it's important for the team, isn't it, to take this win and help, use it to help them, catapult them up that league.
Yeah, you just want to keep playing now, and I'm glad it's a Wednesday game actually, because we haven't got that long to wait till Saturday now. Absolutely buzzing for Saturday, and it's nice that the games are coming thick and fast again, because the last 2 Saturdays we haven't had a game, has it been?
Yeah, exactly, and it's felt
it's not nice, is it?
No, and also you always feel like you sometimes, even though you've got the games in the bank, as you say, you always feel like you're getting a little bit behind. The league's changing in front of you without you being able to have a say in it, and yeah, I think, and also just like you say, the more games that aren't played on a Saturday, the more that you have to have that relentless Tuesday or Wednesday, Saturday sort of schedule. So it's let's hope there's no more. There's been some great news come out this week about some of the test results from COVID, which we know have hindered some of our fixtures this season. And let's hope that suddenly starts to become a bit of a thing from the past. Tom, we're going to bring Glenn in now and talk to him about what he thought about today's game, and also looking forward to the Birmingham game. Glenn, good evening, and how are you?
All the better for winning tonight. That was a good result.
It was, wasn't it? Fantastic result. Fantastic displays, I think, from nearly every man in Sky Blue.
Yeah, I think everyone stepped up and performed. Performed really well coming on for Dabo. He showed what a good footballer is. He's not going to be marauded down the right-hand side, but he keeps possession quite well, and that helped us with the nice little triangles that we started doing that we did a lot last season, and we probably haven't done it enough this season. But yeah, I think Robin's got everything right tonight. I think the only thing I'd question is probably he was a bit risky only going in with one out-and-out defender on the bench, which I guess if DaCosta's not fit, he didn't have much choice. But maybe moving forward, he probably do need to be a bit more streetwise and have another defender on the bench, probably, which because that could obviously come back to haunt us, especially if Dabo's out for a while, which I'll be surprised if he isn't, given the way that that lad clattered into his standing leg. It didn't look pretty, to be fair.
No, exactly. Who was your man of the match today? Who did you think was... do you agree with everyone with O'Hare? I mean, there was a few people, wasn't it? Could have been a couple.
I think Ostergaard actually had a real good game at the back, given the fact that Fazdean wasn't playing. He stepped up and won a lot of the balls in the air. Yeah, and O'Hare, he's a confidence player, and he looks far better with options ahead of him. And I think sometimes this season he's not had the options to play to, and he's been in the wrong areas where you don't want him. You want him setting up chances. You don't want him on the end of chances, probably, because that's not his forte, given some of the misses he's made for Cobb in his relatively short time with us.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, Jorquez looked really good. A goal will do him really good. It was a good finish. He probably should have hit the target with the first chance he had, where he just took too much time. But he looks he's got some place,
and but there's a confidence, isn't it, thing, Glenn? Like you say, hopefully, that will spur him on, won't it? Yeah,
he's not played that much football. He's had like a lot of players and clubs. He's had a very stop-start season, and the Championship is all about momentum. A week can change a club's fortunes quite easily.
Yeah.
You win 3 on the spin, you're out the relegation zone. You lose 3 on the spin, and you're dropping down the league. So, and that's the thing. It's been very stop-start recently. You haven't been able to get any momentum going. So, the next 2 games is a good chance to add further points to our points bag and pull us away from the bottom 3.
Looking forward to the next fixture now, Glenn, because Mark Robbins, as we spoke to Mark previously, Tom's had his input, and Sky Blues Extra followers do drop, your notes in the comments. What would you do with that? Can you see Mark Robbins making a change from how he lined up tonight?
I think he might rest Max. I don't think he'll
Yeah.
change. I'd be surprised if he changed the formation if Dabo's not going to be fit, which I'll be amazed, because I don't think Pask is a right wing back, and you haven't really got a natural right wing back at the club bar unless you're going to go and throw the lads in. I don't think you've got or De Costa's fit, and I wouldn't really want to risk De Costa in the Blues game. So I think you stick with a 4.
Yeah.
And I think if he's going to drop anyone now, he might drop Max, just purely to. You don't really want to be playing him 3 games in 7 days on it with his knee. Max will want to play because that's Max. Max, he play with a broken leg for the club because he loves the club and he'll do that for us. But yeah, I think you don't want to run the risk of him pulling up injured. And I think Blues is going to be a physical game, so it's not like they're going to not get stuck in. So I think maybe you rest him, but then it's who do you bring in? Do you go Bakayoko, or do you give Papaga a go, or do you bring in like an Allen and just try and be a bit more like hard working and hope that you capitalise on some mistakes?
Yeah, no, exactly. How do you see the game going on Saturday? What would be your score prediction if you had to give us one? We won't hold you to it.
I think on past form, I think it'll probably be a draw, and I don't really care if it's as boring as the league game was. I think I'd take a point now. As I said to a couple of people I was speaking to about the game, I said if we win tonight, it's not a must-win game for us on Saturday against Blues, and I think a bit of pressure's on them now. They've kind of been a bit hit and miss, ain't they? And they're not great at home. They get freak results away from home, but I don't think they're scoring goals at home, and they don't tend to be winning a lot. So I think they're the sort of side I think that Karanka sets them up not to get beat. So they're not gonna come out all guns blazing against us. So I think it could play into it if we take our chances and come on to us like last 20 minutes. We could have some fun with our bench and the attacking options we've got off the bench against them. So I take a draw now. I think a draw's not a bad result.
Brilliant. Thanks, Glenn, ever so much for joining Sky Blues Extra Live. Great to have you on, and great for you to share your comments. So, Tom, we've had a couple of guests on. We've had a couple of comments from you guys at home, and do continue to join in with the chat. There's a couple of topics we're going to move on to in a second and talk about, and that is namely firstly about Giles. He scored a late goal tonight for his new club, Rotherham. There's been a lot of debate so far this week on Twitter about what could have we have done and what should have we have done to keep him at the club. And also Hilsner hype. There's been a lot of hype around Marcel Hilsner, who has of course gone out on loan to Oldham, playing his football currently at League 2, but has played 2 games I think for them and has shown some good displays, with some comments on Sky Sports of him being a special player we've heard. So we'll come on to those in a little while, but do share your comments and what you think. But I'm going to bring up, Tom, just to first of all, is just to have a quick look at the Championship table. It's looking a little bit better, isn't it? But it's still very, very tight down there.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a bit better, isn't it? We've still got that sort of 7-point gap, haven't we? Is it 7 points? Yes, 6 points. 6 points, sorry, between us and Rotherham, because obviously they won tonight. But yeah, I think there's a big gap between us and Sheffield Wednesday and Wycombe, which is good. But yeah, like you say, it's tight. It just goes to show how big the Birmingham game is, because if we could win that'll really catapult us up the table. And I think a lot of the teams around us are playing teams from the top half at the weekend as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's some tough fixtures for the teams around us as well. So yeah, I think it's a chance to build to make some ground up.
Out of
Still.
that chasing pack, Tom, who are the teams that you're most worried about? You've got Rotherham sat there with 23 games played, so they've got 2 games in hand on us, and a great result for them this evening. So yeah, who do you think? We said on the podcast, of course, but has that changed tonight at all?
Yeah, I think if we look through it, I think Wycombe and Sheffield Wednesday, I think they'll finish in the bottom 3. I don't think we need to worry too much about them. I think Rotherham, hard to predict. They've got a couple of games in hand. I had sort of written them off a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but I think after tonight, certainly that's a big show of intent, isn't it? Beating Middlesbrough, so they could possibly claw their way out of it with their games in hand. Derby and Forest are teams that I kind of expected to have a much stronger second half of the season. Derby obviously has still got financial problems and stuff. There could be a points deduction. There's all sorts of stuff going on there, so hard to predict with them. I genuinely feel like Birmingham could will be right down there. I don't think QPR are that great either this season. So it's a tough one, isn't it? There's the good thing is there's a number of teams below us. If we can just keep picking up points, we won't have to worry about it too much, I don't think. And we've got to play all these teams as well.
Yeah,
Obviously, we've got Forest next week as well, haven't we? Which is a massive game.
Yeah, exactly. They're coming thick and fast, and then we have that spell of teams that are in the right end of the league, you'd say, and hopefully we can make a good account of ourselves really in games which, like we said, are probably going to be a little bit of a free hit.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of the teams around the top. I mean, you look at like Watford, for example. They've not been playing amazingly recently. They've been scraping results, but when Watford comes to St Andrews, we can go at them and we can try and get a result. There's no reason why we can't get a point or even 3 points against Watford. For me,
yeah, it was one of our better fixtures. I think at times. I think we played some of the best football and was really hard. We showed really. We were brilliant, I think, for a good 10-15 minutes against Watford. And I know that doesn't make a whole fixture, but we definitely showed, especially with 2 up top, what we could do.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, if you look at the top 6 as it is at the moment, we've competed against all of these sides. I mean, Norwich, great point away from home. Swansea, we got a good point at home. Watford, like you say, we played really well. Brentford's probably the only one we did get a bit outplayed. Bournemouth, we got a bit outplayed. Reading, we obviously beat in the home fixture. So, I'm not afraid of these top 6 teams, really. I think we can get results, and a lot of these games are at home as well. So, yeah, I think definitely go for the 3 points in the next 2, and then, we can just enjoy Feb and enjoy the ride. And, you never know, we might just get 4 or 6 points along the way as well in that month.
Yeah, exactly. And we did ask our followers at home to speak about Giles, what they felt about that situation. Real shame, really, isn't it, to lose a player of his quality? But it's also very difficult at the times to actually, if you've got parent clubs and they're pushing for time and game time, that's why he's out on loan to gain experience. And you just have to say that McCallum has made that spot his own.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's a really tough one for Robbins, which I think, if you strip it back and actually think about what's actually happened here, we got Giles in first on loan to obviously play in that left wing back position.
Yeah.
And then what I imagine would have happened is McCallum maybe has cropped up or it's become an option.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember Dabo was out at the start of the season as well. So obviously McCallum was brought in to initially play out on the right. And then obviously when Dabo was back fit, he then had two left wing backs essentially in the squad, both on loan from a higher up team who expect them to be playing.
Minutes. Yeah.
So, he's got to make a call either way. If he played Giles every week, it would have been McCallum being recalled to Norwich, possibly. So I think, it was just a case of we needed someone to cover on the right, and McCallum seemed like a good option, someone who knew the club and whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's, very favourable by Robbins. But, if you loan 2 players in the same position, you're always going to have this problem. I remember we had it with Dujon Sterling a couple of years ago, where Chelsea said that he had to play every game, and I remember sometimes we were scratching our heads wondering why he was always playing. And I think Grimmer, was it the season when Grimmer couldn't get a look in?
Yeah, very much. I think people felt that he should have been, and he's gone on to show what a great player he is, isn't he? So
exactly. So loan signings are tough. They're good in the sense that obviously, when the wages are getting paid and things like that, they're good options for a half season or a season or whatever. Obviously, worked brilliantly with players like O'Hare last year, Ostergaard this year, and people like that. But obviously, it's always the problem that if it's in a position where one player plays, then it's a bit of a tough one, and they might get recalled. I don't think it was Robbins' choice, to be honest.
No,
I think
of course
it was
it's
Wolves
not. It's
that were
a
calling the
it's a
shots
parent club, and they've made a decision, and an
Yeah.
option's come up to get him some more game time at a club that is equally, like you say, is in the Championship, and they've offered him
Yeah.
a chance. And great for Ryan Giles. He's gone on
Great.
and he's shown
Yeah.
what he can do tonight by scoring. And haven't
Yeah.
seen the goal, but presumably he's shown, he's done what he's shown so much in our games.
Yeah, exactly. He's. I was chatting to the lads the other day and saying, he's probably the sort of player who, if he goes somewhere and he's loved and he's like taken care of, and they're like, you're going to be the main man in this position or whatever it is, he'll thrive really well. And we probably couldn't quite offer him that, could we?
Yeah.
So I think Wolves called the shots on this one. It wasn't really our decision. But, people probably feel a little bit bitter because he's gone to a relegation rival, I don't think we'd have cared as much if he'd gone elsewhere, if we'd gone into League One or whatever. But realistically, I think it was always going to be a team in the bottom half of the table,
Yeah.
because I don't see why, Blackburn or someone would want someone like him. He's probably not quite good enough. But so it was always going to be a bottom half team and therefore a rival. But, we just got to get on with it and really just focus on ourselves. We've got plenty of talent in our team. We just got to concentrate on that and do what we can.
And talking of loans, Tom, what a great spell for Marcel Hilsner now, who's gone out to Oldham. Okay,
Yeah.
we know it's a couple of levels down from the Championship, but great for him to be getting first team football at in English football.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant for him. I think I think there's a couple of ways to look at it. We can't get too carried away with he's playing in League Two. It's not know it's not a great standard of football,
Yeah.
but the reason he's there is not to develop as a footballer necessarily. It's to get his fitness back up.
Of course, yeah.
That's what he's there for. So it's to get a run of games at a level, playing proper men's football, where he's going to play 90 minutes week in, week out. That's what he's there for. So it's great that he's doing really well there, and he's getting a lot of plaudits. But it's all about him getting 10, 15, 20 games under his belt to then be a valuable player for us next season. Because I think from what we're hearing, the talent is definitely there. I think it always was.
Yeah.
There's just this strange fitness issue that he's had that's just a bit of bad luck, really.
Yeah, exactly. And the adjustment
once-
to English football, and moving from abroad, and all of that, this will help ease him into that without it being too much thrown into the deep end, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's only moved from Germany, Dave, but yeah. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Football-wise.
No, it's an adjustment he has to make, from, what was he playing, like second or third division in Germany? Yeah, you're right. Like, it is an adjustment. The Championship's a tough league, but he's just got to get his fitness up. And
Yeah, I don't mean
League
the train network or the tube system. I just mean that it's the football is very different, perhaps from what he's been playing to what the Championship would be. And without making it the Sky Blues Extra loan show, would you bring back Mason now? Would you recall him with the headache that Robbins has got? Of course, with one, you can only name a certain amount of loan players, as we know. It could possibly put us in a situation later on in the season. Would you be recalling Mason at this moment in time?
I don't think so. I think Josh Reed is due in, isn't he, in the next day or so?
Yeah.
That probably will be tomorrow, I would have thought. So I think he's due in. So I think it depends if Ross County are allowing us to have him now, which it seems to me like we were letting him to go back. We were sort of saying, yeah, you can have him back on loan, or it was like as part of the deal to help them out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But I think we can probably call the shots on that one if we're forking out 300, 400 grand for him. That we say, part of the deal is that we want him now, and I think he'll come in. Whether he'll feature, I don't really know, but he'll definitely be good backup for McCallum. So yeah, but I think the problem we've got is over on the right, isn't it? We don't really know about Dabo. People seem
it
to
looks
be
like he's probably
about
going to be. It looks like he is probably going to be maybe not fit. We don't know, do we, for Saturday? But it certainly looked enough for him to not be able to run it off, which in that sort of tackle, it's either one of two things, and it's either a dead leg, and you're just not going to be able to run it, where you expect them to perhaps run it off, or it is a little bit more serious. So I'm sure there's probably been Robbins won't even know yet until they get him back to the treatment room, see what's going on, and have a look at him tomorrow and the day after.
The thing that encouraged me that he was jogging about a bit, wasn't he? After it happened, he was jogging up and down the line, and it might just be like, hopefully it's a dead leg, because if it's a dead leg, it'll be probably miss Saturday, but possibly be fine for Tuesday. Maybe not, but maybe 1 or 2 games. But if it's anything more serious, then that is a bit of a concern. Dabo's one of our main players. I think, as Mark was talking about, we play a lot down the right, don't we? It was quite noticeable actually when Dabo went off. We were a bit like, well, where do we play it now then? Because and we luckily we played through the middle really, and O'Hare was brilliant, so it didn't affect us too much. But we don't want Dabo to be out for too long. That'd be another really big player out for our season.
Yeah, I think there's some comments coming through saying that it's confirmed that it's ligament damage, which is obviously a huge concern.
That's concerning.
We haven't heard that ourselves, but that would be.
We sit on it and we don't get all the news dripping through on our Twitter, so we have to just sort of rely on the comments.
The comments, no, exactly. And if that is the case, then that's a big blow, because how great was it to see Dabo with the armband this evening? Brilliant, wasn't it?
Brilliant, wasn't it? I was a little bit surprised in a way, like pleasantly surprised. I thought it might have been Hyam. But great to see Dabo, getting the captain's armband, and clearly is someone who's looked up to, and is seen as a bit of a leader. I don't even know, he's still quite young, isn't he, Dabo, really?
Yeah, exactly.
25, 24, 25.
And the centre defence partnership tonight, Tom, I mean, couldn't really say they put a foot wrong.
No.
Ostigard, we know how brilliant he is in the air. He pretty much mopped up everything, didn't he? In both attack and defence.
Yeah, I mean that one that he leapt at like a salmon, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was like horizontal, about 7 foot in the air.
Yeah, Matrix
don't know how he does
it.
The
time just sort of froze, didn't it? But we know he's brilliant in the air. But he showed that defensively tonight, and perhaps there's been times where he's not because he's not played that central centre back position. He's not been able to showcase that. But I think he was fantastic, and also Dom Hyam was equally as brilliant tonight as well, and they kept the ball really, really well on what was, you have to keep saying it, a really difficult pitch.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it, on a pitch like that? No, I think the defence did well tonight. I think it just felt comfortable, didn't it?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't feel like I was nervous at any. I was a bit nervous in the second half, obviously, when you won the look, but I felt comfortable. We were dealing with things well, I thought. Set pieces, like Mark was saying, Bannon's very good from set pieces. But I thought we mopped up things well, dealt with everything really well. I thought the partnership between those two worked well tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just quickly bring up the lineup from tonight's game and just go through. I mean, I'm looking at that team, Tom, from tonight's lineup, and I can't see a man that's dipped below a 6 there.
No, I mean the only player, possibly Sheaf. I mean, he had a couple of hairy moments in the first half, didn't he? That one where he sort of, I don't know what happened really. He sort of slipped almost, didn't he? With the ball.
Yeah, and this is the thing, isn't it? But I do think it's one of those that he's confident in his own ability, so he does demand the ball there. You'd hate to have a player there where they go missing. There's plenty of players that I'm sure myself and you have played with that they don't want it in certain areas, and he's not a man that will do that. He will take the ball. He doesn't hide. No, exactly. And I thought at times he played some brilliant football, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying he had a bad game. I think he still played some brilliant passes. He played some nice balls over the top actually, to connect up the play. But just a couple of hairy moments. That was all. But like we've said, the pitch isn't great and just really doesn't help stuff like that, to be honest. It doesn't fill you with confidence as a player either when the pitch is like that.
No, of course. And it was very scrappy at times. It bounced off people and it skimmed off the ground. But another huge performance, I think, from Matty James. I mean, he is. We talk so much, don't we, about how we could have tried to have kept Walsh. and he's grown into a player for me that would, with a year under his belt with the side, would be a phenomenal signing. I'm not saying that could happen, but he's really fitted in, hasn't he? He's not struggled to get involved at all.
Yeah, he oozes class, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's got that sort of like Premier League kind of sort of style to him. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
You can sort of just tell by the way he conducts himself.
Had extra seconds on the ball when other players didn't seem to have. He knows when to close down a man. He knows when to go halfway house. He knows when to put it round the corner or when to take a touch. And I think it was a really, really, really like a flawless and just a very professional performance, wasn't it, tonight by Matty James?
Yeah, it was. And like you say about sort of signing him, I think he'll be a bit of an example of how serious we are as a club and how ambitious we are as a club, because assuming he is available in the summer, and it seems like he probably will be, yes, he might be on 16 to 20 grand a week, but as a club, if we want to stay in the Championship for a long time and not just a season or two, that's the level we need to get to. There's some teams that are, there's teams below us. There's teams like Derby who their average wage is 20 grand a week, so you kind of have to speculate to accumulate to stay in the division, and it'll be almost a bit of a marker point of we probably need to be trying to sign players like him next season and progress as a club.
Yeah, couple of moments for Hamer tonight, Tom, but again, equally as good. And didn't really put a foot wrong, did he? And he sort of controlled the middle of the park at times. He always looks dangerous. He's always trying to make something happen for me.
Yeah, again, it's a weird one with Hamer. He doesn't stand out as much anymore because I've kind of just got used to his level of performance and the class that he brings and his set pieces and everything. So, yeah, it was another, like I say, another solid performance by Hamer as well. And I think it seems like he's enjoying playing with James in the midfield, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Perhaps a little bit more freedom, a little bit, I guess, less anxiety about going forwards. He knows that he's got a bit of protection and good solid player, perhaps,
and linked up really well tonight as well. I think at parts, we've said over the last couple of weeks we've missed those triangles, but they were clearly back tonight, and some great link-up play between Hamer and Matty James, and Sheaf as well at times, and of course Cal O'Hare. And Cal O'Hare really looked like he had that freedom to sort of perform in the final third, and I think that was the key, wasn't it, for him unlocking those assists.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that's going to keep us up this season, it's definitely our midfield. I think for all the injuries we've had and all the troubles we've had and the finances, all those challenges, we've actually got a pretty good midfield, haven't we? If we're honest.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think to have Matty James, Hamer, and O'Hare in the midfield, I think that's brilliant. And it
looks like a good it looks like a good January for Mark Robins, doesn't it, now, with the addition of Matty James and the addition of Victor. He played well tonight, and he's gonna it was always gonna be difficult to bring in a player in January to perhaps equal Matty Godden and Tyler Walker, but we've possibly done that, and him and Max looked really good together linking up. They definitely both look like players that prefer to play in a two, or at least one up top and one very close. But it was
it's a good signing. Let's be honest, there's not tons of 20-goal strikers floating about in January.
No.
It just doesn't really happen. It's an extremely hard window to sign any good quality in. And you don't plan as much for January either, do you? You plan for your summer transfers, and January's almost just getting people in, on a whim kind of thing because of injuries. So I think Gyökeres is probably about the best we could get at this point. I think whereas he hasn't banged in the goals for Swansea, he brings a lot of physicality, and he's just going to have to dig in and get stuck in, and he's just going to have to, when he gets the ball through from a head like that, he's just going to have to bury them.
But he suits that, and actually, as strikers go, we could have gone out and got a pacey sort of number 9, and I'm not sure that would have really have worked for us. I think tonight he put a shift in where he held up the ball really well. He's strong, he's quick, very quick
he's
as
strong.
well.
He's quite a big lad, isn't he? He's quite well built.
Yeah, he is, and I think that it suits that sort of style of play, and it will allow us to be versatile, I think. Whereas if you go for one of those number 9s, you've got to go a little bit big man, little man, flick-ons, and then you're forced to play that 2 up top, aren't you? Whereas I think, Victor or Max will both be able to play that role if Robbins continues to play that 1 up top that we know he so likes. So
yeah, absolutely, completely agree, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's all we've got time for on Sky Blues Extra Live this evening. We thank you for all of you for joining in and appreciate every single one of your comments. We will be recording a podcast later on this week, so do make sure you listen to that. That will be available on all of our all good platforms for podcasts. And of course, do visit Sky Blues Extra. It's skyblues-extra.co.uk. Lots of content on there, including memory lane pieces from Ross, who's a superb writer, and of course our Matt Trutwine, who also does our match previews, and they're also a huge hit amongst you guys. And if you do get a chance, pop into the Sky Blues Extra store, pick yourself up a poster or a t-shirt. The posters, t-shirts, the sales from that, it all just helps us pay for the subscription costs that we have to run this channel, the subscription costs we have for graphic work and design and other things that we do. So it really does help us out, and we really do appreciate that. But most of all, we appreciate all of your likes, shares, comments, because the channel wouldn't be what it is without you, the Sky Blues Extra followers. It's a great win, Tom. Really happy that we've managed to get 3 points, and it puts us into now a really important period of the league and the season of just got to go for it now, and fantastic.
Yeah, exactly, mate. I genuinely think season defining. It was an absolutely massive game tonight. We had to win tonight. We really did. If we lost tonight, it'd be. I mean, imagine what Twitter would be like right now. It'd be an absolute meltdown, wouldn't it? But I'm looking forward to having a scroll through and see a lot of happy comments from the Sky Blue Army, because when the Sky Blue Army are happy, it makes me happy.
Exactly. Well, a superb performance from the Sky Blues, who have beat relegation rivals Sheffield Wednesday 2-0. Superb performances and standout performances from O'Hare, of course, and of course Gyökeres, who played extremely well, Matty James, Hamer, the whole team really played superbly, and it was a superb 3 points. Join us again on Saturday, where we'll be doing Sky Blues Extra Live, and it just remains to say, play up Sky Blues.